Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the first live that I've done in quite a few months. It's been a rough few months, as we know, here in 2020. So let's go ahead and get started. I don't want to keep everybody this beautiful Saturday morning too long, and I'm just going to try to catch the light a little better. There we go. Here in my home office for Great White Travels and Associates. So that's one of the new things that we'll be talking about this morning. That is a little bit better on the reflection, isn't it? Okay. All right, so good morning, and thanks for joining me this morning. I hope that all of you are doing well this beautiful Saturday morning. We've had some fantastic weather all week, and it's been a lovely week weather-wise. We've also set some new okay. I'm trying to set the, okay, there we go. All right, I've set the comment moderation so that we can discuss things a little bit. Okay, so today is our second anniversary of Great White Travels and Associates. It started out as Great White Travels 2 years ago today, and I'm really excited to be here this morning and share with you some updates about the travel world, updates about our agency, and what's going on and what we can look forward to in the future as far as travel. I really just can't get rid of that glare, so it's kind of frustrating me. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for being part of our agency and the support to my friends, family, and our valued clients for the past 2 years. It's been an amazing journey. Absolutely love the world of travel and love making people's travel plans come to fruition, whether it's just a weekend getaway or whether it's the adventure of a lifetime or whether it's for a sail on your favorite cruise line, whatever it is, a family vacation, couples getaway. We're just having a great time seeing people travel. This year has kind of put a halt to some of that, as we well know, but we'll talk about that in a little bit, about COVID restrictions and how it has affected the world of travel. So again, I wouldn't be here on the 2-year anniversary if you guys hadn't stuck with me and been so supportive the past 2 years. And so, of course, thank you to that. So let's start with some happenings with the agency itself. So as I moved through 2020 and saw the direction of what travel was going to be looking like moving forward, and who I've been engaged with as clients over the past couple of years, I made a transitional move to bring on board with our agency 3 associates who were what I would call Pied Pipers within my travel base agency already. So when I mean Pied Pipers, these were active clients booking a lot, or they were bringing a lot of people to the table as future clients. So it just made sense that I would bring a few people on board. Oh, look, we've got some people coming on board. It's fabulous. So it just made sense that I open up the agency to new and exciting opportunities with those Pied Pipers. It's been a fantastic move on my part. So I'd like to introduce um, the the crew, so to speak, the team at Great White Travels. So myself, most of you know me. I've been an avid traveler all my life as a military brat, spouse, mom, and I get itchy when I don't travel. So good morning, Twyla. Good to see you. Twyla is my son-in-law's mom, and we're very blessed to have Coy as part of the family. Hopefully that we don't get to spend much time together, but I think we're all going to be doing Thanksgiving together. So let me diverse back to our associates. So our associates, I decided to go ahead and have some conversation with these young ladies because I thought, what's travel going to look like moving forward, and how can we survive as an agency and thrive as an agency, not just survive but thrive, to better serve our clients. So I have brought on board three associates: Melissa Vincent, who I posted an introductory video this morning that Melissa did yesterday. So give a quick listen to that. That would be great. So you learn a little bit more about Melissa. Her niche, one of the things that we talked about the very first time we talked was Disney. She loves Disney and everything Disney. And I'm not talking about just Disney World. We're looking at Disneyland, Aulani, Disney Paris, Disney Tokyo, Disney Cruise Lines. So anything Disney, Melissa will be our go-to girl. She has other passions with travel. She travels pretty frequently with her family, but that's going to be her primary focus would be Disney. So, if we have somebody who's interested in Disney out there, we will set you up with an appointment with Melissa, and she'll be glad to walk you through that process because it's not an easy process. Disney is complicated, and there's so many guidelines now, and it's weekly updates to what's going on with Disney. Our second young lady that we brought on board is a young lady named Loretta Causey. Many may know her from the DeRidder Junior Women's League and her active role there. So Loretta's passion, she loves to travel as well, but she loves people. Absolutely. Of course, we all like people, right? Or otherwise we wouldn't be in this business. So one of her things that she's going to be doing is she's going to be very passionate about carnival and carnival groups. So she's going to be our main go-to with carnival and carnival groups, and hopefully move into the Royal and some other cruise line. So if you're interested in doing a group with Carnival, or if you're just interested in doing some individual bookings, Loretta will be your primary contact with her. So if you have an FCC, even if you're not currently a client, but you have an FCC with Carnival or any of the other cruise lines for that matter, we can handle that booking for you very easily. So our third young lady that will be taking her training next week. So I just announced this week that she was coming on board, and she actually starts her training on Monday, is Miss Angie Bacon. Angie loves, loves, loves to travel. She loves to travel as couples. She likes to travel with her families, and she's a planner. So when she does some trips with her family or even just with her husband or friends, she researches that area wherever she's going diligently. And when you watch her pictures as she's traveling, she's like, boom, boom, boom. You got to see this. You got to do this. So Angie is her primary focus to start with will be couples and families trips. And I think she's really going to be one of our hotel experts because she does a great job evaluating the best property for the trip. So, we welcome all three of those on board. Hopefully in the future, probably I'm hoping within the next year, possibly a year and a half, depending on how 2021 travel rolls, we'll be able to bring on a fourth associate. And I've already had some conversation with an individual who's interested, and I think would be a great fit for our agency. it wasn't a direction that I thought I was going to go this soon, but I think moving forward with all the diversity in travel right now, it's the best option so that we can better serve our clients. Okay, so where does that leave me? Am I not going to be doing any bookings? Of course I am. And I'm hopefully doing a lot of travel with that too. My primary focus, once the ladies get trained and focused and really settled into booking travel, my primary concentration is going to be on escorted groups, both land and sea, particularly in river cruising, and all inclusives. I think all of us are going to specialize in a particular all inclusive brand. For instance, Charisma, Playa, La Coleccion. We've just got so many brands out there for all inclusives. I think if we each pick a brand that appeals to us and specialize in that, we'll be better equipped to match the client to the property. So all inclusives are obviously going to be one of our big things. I really want to start moving into more specialized groups, culinary groups, wine groups, just special journeys that Amagao is coming up in 2022. So that's a group that I was researching this week. Whether it's going to be land or sea, I've yet to determine. But particularly in Europe would be my main focus. Of course, I like anything water, Caribbean, so don't rule that out. But my focus will be in escorted travel for the most part, and your specialty travel. So, what is travel looking like right now during COVID? It's very diverse. So, for those of you who follow my page, you've seen me travel quite a bit in the past couple months. Not as much as I normally do this time of the year, but still enough to keep moving, testing, see what's out there. So I have traveled to San Antonio a couple times after the hurricanes, and that was more because we had no power, no water, and I needed some sanity. But it was also because I wanted to, get back out there with the traveling world and see how things are looking. So from there, I also went to Charleston last month and spent a great 5 days there with my sister and brother-in-law. And we did, quite a bit of sightseeing. The traveling varies by state where you're going as far as COVID restrictions. The airlines, let's start there. So airports are very rigid with COVID regulations and safety protocols. I fly primarily Delta, and at this time, Delta is still skipping a seat between passengers unless you're of the same family. You can book together. You get a baggie of sanitation supplies, or when you get on board, or they give it to you as we take flight, and that so there is no food service on the flights right now. So everything is pre-packaged, pre-centralized, pre-sterilized, so that there's less contact between people. So masks are obviously required unless you're eating or drinking. Sanitation protocols in every airport that I've been in, Charleston, Atlanta, AEX, Cancun, has been on point. Like, I've not seen people not follow those standardized protocols. It's been, quite an eye-opening adventure. So I went to Cancun with some fellow CP travelers, CP agents. About almost 2 weeks ago, I got home last Friday. And we were scheduled to tour about 13 resorts while we were down there to learn more about them so we could better, sell that product, have more knowledge about it for you. Well, of course, while we were there, Hurricane Zeta blew through. So from a travel advisor perspective, that was an interesting experience to see how Cancun and Quintana Roo, the state of Quintana Roo, handled that emergency situation. We were very lucky. We were at Live Aqua, which is an adults only resort in the middle of Cancun, that we at no point lost power, internet, or the satellite television. The southern part of Cancun was not quite as lucky. There were a few resorts that lost power. Some had to evacuate. So from the moment that the government realized that the hurricane was going to come over Cancun, actually make landfall in Cancun, steps were put in place right away to keep everybody safe, which included no alcohol sales for about 36, 48 hours. People had to be back into the resorts at a certain time. They made arrangements for us for meals. So at no point did I feel unsafe. And I've ridden out, that was number 3 hurricane for me this year. 4th overall, 5th overall. I've kind of lost count here in 2020. It hit us, and it got a little colorful between 11 and 2 a.m. The eye came over, and then the wind switched direction. Got a little bit of water in my room, but they were there at daybreak the next morning to clean it up. So from a travel agent perspective, that was a good experience. From a personal perspective, I was a little nervous. Had a little bit of PTSD from Laura and Delta and Beta in between, but it was a good experience overall, and I'm glad it wasn't more serious than it was. So, if you're ever caught in that kind of situation, follow the guidelines of the resort that you're staying at. And, if you have any questions, you contact your travel advisor and or the resort that you're traveling to. People are also traveling. So as I've been traveling, I've noticed more and more people at the airports, on the planes. There were no seats available on the flight to Cancun, back from Cancun. Charleston was the same way. So when people talk about COVID travel, oh no, everybody's staying at home. No, that is not the case. Travel is alive. It's different, but it's very much alive, and it's very much happening within those guidelines of COVID regulations and safety protocols. Is it the same? No, it's not. Running from one section of the Atlanta airport to another with a mask on to make your next flight, it's not something that's quite enjoyable, but you do it and you move on. So it's different, but people are traveling. Whether it's time for you to travel, that's for you to decide. We can talk about, the safety protocols in place. We can talk about the restrictions if you're interested in travel and how it affects you right now. Or you can wait and pre-plan until things regain some normalcy. And when that will be, we don't know. That's something none of us know at this point. So travel is happening. It's happening to Mexico. It's happening to most of the Caribbean islands are open. It's happening a lot within the continental US. So the trend that we've seen in the travel world is that, especially Atlanta airport is the worst. That is absolutely correct, Andrea. You got to leave time in between those flights, and if you get delayed, it can be quite hairy. So the trends that we've seen as TAs and the trends I've seen within my own agency is that people are still traveling. It's not as an extensive of a trip that they may have taken in the past, but they're still traveling. People who travel are still going to travel. They're just going to make adjustments into how they travel. We've seen a lot of Florida. As soon as Florida opened up, a lot of Florida vacations, Grand Canyon, anything inside the United States. So I've got a client leaving next week, going to Boston for a week. Um, some locations require COVID testing, some require some other COVID measures that we just have to be knowledgeable. And that's what we're here for, to determine what it is that you need to do to be able to travel. Some Caribbean islands are requiring testing some are not. Costa Rica does not require it right now. Mexico does not require. Um, Jamaica does. So, most of the Caribbean islands are open on a limited basis. So capacity is an issue right now. So if you're interested in traveling, you have to pre-plan it. It's not something you can do last minute. So that spontaneity, unfortunately, is not there right now. Pre-planning is everything, so that you can be prepared for the restrictions and that you can be prepared for the capacity control. And that's across the board. Disney, the all-inclusives in any of the locations, hotels, most are still operating at a limited capacity. So we just have to be aware of what's happening before we travel. But you can travel if you feel safe. So the key is it's your comfort level. I felt quite comfortable traveling the past few times I've traveled. I've got more travel planned for January and springtime and over the summer. So I'm not going to stop traveling. I'm going to take those precautions as needed and follow guidelines as required. So the biggest thing that I will tell you about future travel and people who have been contacting me, based on the pictures I was posting from Cancun, some fabulous places, right? Get your passport. Get your, yes, Andrea, thank you for mentioning that. So veterans, starting Veterans Day of this year, veterans of all branches and Gold Star families have free admission to 2,000 national parks and public lands. That could be a great way to plan a potential trip. So if you're a retired military, a vet, a Gold Star family member, you now have free entrance starting next Wednesday to over 2,000 national parks and public lands. So you can plan a trip to travel by car or by plane to any one of those locations, and we can help guide you in that direction and plan that trip. So as I was saying, passports. I'm big on passports. If you like to travel at all, whether it be by cruise ship, whether it be by airplane, whether it be all of the above, get your passport. I was talking to a client that was interested in booking Cancun for the next couple months, and he was talking to some other people, and they didn't have passports. Well, you don't travel to Mexico without one. So, they're limited on what kind of traveling they can do, because if you normally go on a closed loop cruise and you're used to traveling without that passport, because those are not required on a closed loop leaving from a US port, I just advise people get your passport. It's taking 6 to 8 weeks. They're pretty much on target now, back on a regular timeline, and they're even taking some expedited applications. So get that passport. It's an investment. It's 10 years. It's good for 10 years. And it opens up so many more doors of travel for you. So get your passport. That's my pitch for today. So talking about cruising, those of you who follow news, especially if you're an avid cruiser, last Friday, the CDC lifted the no sail order that cruise lines have been under, US-based cruise lines have been under since March. This was a big, big step. There was some heavy advocacy happening prior to that order being lifted by certain senators that worked with a healthy sail panel that Royal Caribbean and Norwegian formed to set protocols in place for cruise lines to be able to come back. Will they be cruising in 2020? No. So all the cruise lines have basically canceled all their itineraries into 2020, but they are moving forward in getting back into the water. They're calling it's going to be a staggered process. There's some very rigid protocols in place by the CDC for cruise ships to go back into. And if you're interested in reading that order, I can share that with you. Um, but it's going to be a conditional phased in approach for cruising to start back up. They will have to start with short itineraries, 3 to 4 day itineraries. The longer itineraries, 9 days and up, are not going to be happening. Even the 7 days are not going to be happening right off the bat. Moving into January, February, it'll be a phased in approach. By the end of Q1 into Q2 of 2021, we should see some more openings for the cruise lines. And hopefully by the end of Q2 of 2021, we will get back, and I'm going to knock on wood, to some kind of normal established cruising. There will be restrictions in place from the start, masks, testing, some other protocols that will be established based on the ship and the number of passengers, etc. So cruising is coming back. It's going to be at a reduced capacity from when we hit back in the water. So if you're interested in cruising in 2020, in the later half of 2021, it's time to book those trips now. And I'm not saying that because I want to sell you a cruise. Obviously I do, but the reduced capacity, just like in every other method of travel right now, that's what is going to be essential for control. It's controlled capacity is the key word. So we're already looking into 2022 and 2023 for cruising, and I'll jump on that in just a few minutes. The itineraries have been released earlier than normal for those later, your later travel, so 2022 and 2023, by most of the cruise lines, by river cruising, and the land packages. So land suppliers are also releasing early itineraries into 2023 already. So it's a great time to plan ahead. And, that gives you the option of taking your time to pay for it as well. So that's something that I always like. So cruising is coming back. It's a conditional phased in approach. Let's just watch. We have some groups planned for next year in coming out of Galveston. So, we're watching it consistently. And I do weekly webinars with Royal Caribbean and with Carnival. So, there's a lot of educational components happening right now as far as keeping us updated on the latest. So, cruising will come back. We'll come back. We will be sailing again. I know I can't wait to get back on the water. I'm scheduled to go on a group in March. I'm hoping that happens. So it is a shorter day itinerary, and if it sails, I'll be on it. So, stay tuned. Okay, so groups. We currently have 4 groups established moving forward. So when I say groups, don't panic that you have to hang out with a certain set of people unless you want to build a group with a certain set of people. Groups are a great way to travel. It's a great way to save money and get extra amenities, whether it be with a cruise line, a resort, or a land supplier like Globus or Insight. It's a great way to lock in great rates and get extra amenities. So that's my spiel about groups. So if you have a family reunion coming up, if you have a church group, a girls trip that you want to plan, it's a great way to get some great. I was actually in negotiations with a Fort Lauderdale hotel earlier this week to get a group rate for a group that's cruising out of Fort Lauderdale, out of Miami, actually, at the end of April, and they're itching to get groups back into the market, into the travel market. So groups right now is a great way to travel. So when we're talking about groups, we're talking about affinity, which is like a family reunion, or we're just talking a promotional group. So right now we have 4 promotional groups established that have absolutely fantastic rates. Um, we have a back to school sailing on the Carnival Breeze, which will be sailing out of Galveston. The Breeze will not be there long, but the Breeze is going, it's a fantastic ship. Um, it's a 4-day sailing to Cozumel. It's at the end of July 2021. That group is still open, and we've got some great rates. Or you can use your VIFP promotions, and we can book you into that group so that you can avail of the group amenities as well. So that's at the end of July of 2021. We have a group established on Celestial Cruise Line for the idyllic Aegean Mediterranean cruise in May of 2022. The rates on that particular sailing were so fantastic. I booked a personal trip and then quickly built a group around it because the rates were so good. And it's only $150 to hold your cabin. Unfortunately, we have only until the end of November to lock in those great rates of 150 low deposit. So if you're interested in that idyllic Aegean group, May of 2022, let me know, or let any of us know, because we'd love to have you on that. Celestial is a smaller cruise line that is based in Cyprus, so they can access all the smaller ports. And we have 2 overnights in Santorini and Mykonos, and we'll do a pre-package in Athens. No, a post. We're doing a post in Athens. If you want to do a pre, you can do that as well. But as a group, we're doing a post in Athens after we dock. So I've even looked into 2023, because in 2023 I turned 60. So that's going to be a banner year of travel for me, because I'm turning 60. So I'm going to celebrate it. We have a group on the Carnival Panorama, which will be a Western Mexican Caribbean sailing in January of 2023. And then Carnival will be releasing a new ship. We have the Mardi Gras coming out next year. And in 2023, the Celebration will join the Carnival fleet. And we have a Southern Caribbean itinerary booked on the Celebration for April of 2023. So again, great time to lock in some great rates, use your promotions, lots of promotions happening right now, to get into one of those groups. So some other things we've got happening at GWTA. That's something I came up with when I was trying to form our associate group on Facebook. I'm like, I need to shorten this. Saying Great White Travels and Associates every time is it's kind of long. So I shortened it to GWTA. We have shirts available. So if you're one of our diehard clients and you love us, go to our events on our Facebook page and you can order a shirt to show some swag for GWTA. We'll probably have some extras after the orders close. And then I want to transition to a local vendor so that we can support local business as much as possible. Our office here, as most of you know, and I know everybody's hanging on to get that winner for our basket. As most of you know, in July of this year, I moved out of my Heartspace office that was located on the main street here in DeRidder, and moved back home into a home office. As you can see in the background, we've done a lot of work on it. We still have a little bit of work to do. before we can open it to the public, so that you can make an appointment and come see us or just drop in. Um, so hopefully within the next few months, we'll get those things done so that we can open it to the public and have you come in at any time, to talk travel. And so I can bring my associates in and we can work together on projects as well. Um, so, keep an eye on what's been going on with our office. But as you can see, I'm very settled and I love it. I can hear my chickens on one side. I have a view of my pool on the other. So it's been great. I wasn't, I liked having my office space at Jay's Carpet. I loved it very much. I loved the team there. But COVID, we had to make adjustments. So here we are. Love my office, and I can't wait to welcome everybody here. So we had a raffle, not a raffle, we had a share drawing set up to be pulled August 31st. Well, what happened August 27th? Hurricane Laura came blowing through and pretty much wrecked our world here in our community. Um, it was one of the most devastating events, that I've ever witnessed. And we're still recuperating from that. And then, less than a month later, and I can actually hear roof going on next door. My neighbors are getting a new roof. The neighbors 2 doors down got a new roof this week. There's new roofs going on behind us. So there's just a lot of recovery happening. Less than a month later, we got hit by Delta, and in between, we had Beta. So no power, no internet, nothing. So I postponed the drawing of I don't know if you can see, our wonderful basket of goodies. We have Swamp Spice goodies in here. So there's some wonderful sauces and salts and rubs in the basket. We also have a rewards card, a $25 rewards card, and 2 tickets for a raffle that the Lions Club, I'm a DeRitter Lion, is doing. So the back to school group that's sailing at the end of July, that is actually also part of the raffle. So there'll be 2 tickets in this basket. So that's a trip for 2 in that group. If you want to buy one of those tickets to support the DeRitter Lions, those are still available until December 9th. It's $10 a ticket, and that's the only thing you have to pay is your gratuities. So that's a wonderful thing. So that's included in this basket as well. So $25 gift rewards card, all these wonderful Swamp Spice sauces and rubs and salts. And the winner is, I'm actually going to post the picture. I'm hoping to post the picture. I can't post the picture. Great. The winner of our basket, drum roll, is Miss Amy Sellers, my friend Amy. Amy, you won this wonderful basket. I know how to get a hold of you. There were over 60 people in the drawing spinning the wheel on the wheel. You had to like and share and post on the original post an answer to the question that was in the post to be entered into this drawing. And there were over 50 people that were on the wheel. I use a wheelofchance.com for our contests and drawings. So it's a great way to end our anniversary day and our anniversary live. Again, I want to thank everybody for their constant support, for just calling me if you need a hotel, any small, large, or anything in between bookings are helping to support our small business. And those ladies and I that are working so hard to make your travel plans happen. I'm no different. Yes, Anda. Yes, thank you so much. I don't think she's watching, so I'm going to text her as soon as we're finished and let her know. Any of those bookings, it doesn't matter how big or how small. When you use a TA, your TA, a good TA, whether it's me or somebody else, they are your advocate, they are your planner, they are your back when things go wrong. So imagine all these travel plans that people have had to adjust um, over the stretch of COVID, or planning a trip to a Caribbean island and you had no clue about the COVID restrictions. Well, that's where we're stepping in. And I think moving forward, travel moving forward, I think TAs are going to be more and more valuable for people to book with. I mean, we're free, right? To use our services, it's free, no matter how big or how small the booking. Um, Moving forward, I think using a TA is going to be more and more valuable, um, because you need that back. You need that support and that planning, that operation support from a good TA, so that you go into your trip not having to worry about a thing. Um, that's what we're for. So, again, thank you for everybody. It's been a tough year, but I'm really looking forward to 2021 and beyond, especially 2023, which is my 60th birthday year, and have all those wonderful trips planned. Um, but keep an eye out for some additional groups that I'm looking at. Again, I was looking at Uber Amagao for 2022, possibly a sailing down the Douro in Portugal as well. So, you never know what we're going to come up with. I really would love to plan a girls' trip to Cancun. So get some of your friends together. Let's get those passports and plan a trip. Let's go to one of these gorgeous resorts that I looked at and saw last week in Cancun. So thanks again, everybody. I hope you have a fabulous weekend. I'm actually heading to Little Big Cup this weekend in Arnoldville, on the east part of the state. So stay tuned for pictures for that. Appreciate everybody. And from Great White Travels and Associates, thank you. Thanks for making 2 years happen. See you, everybody.